Guys, we're doing more large animals this time. This video will focus on the large carnivores of North America, which essentially means the members of the cat, dog, and bear families. There aren't any introduced species in this episode, but there are a few species that I included just because their range enters slightly into the United States and exists mostly in Central and South America. And with that, let's start. The bobcat is found all over the United States and southern Canada, with the exception of the belt of farmland in the Midwest and the northeastern population center. It's named for its tail, which, as you can see, is very short, and it's orange and black on the top and white on the bottom. The main identifier for the bobcat to differentiate it from the lynx is that it has shorter tufts on its ears, and it's more orange in coloration. As you can see, it can be anywhere from orange-red to light orange in color. The Canada lynx is found mostly in Canada, as you might expect, though it's also found in Alaska and some of the northern parts of the Rocky Mountains and Appalachian Mountains in the United States. As you can see, compared to the bobcat, it's more gray-brown in coloration and has larger tufts on its ears. It's also not definitively spotted. The cougar is one of the bigger cat species and is also known as the puma or mountain lion. It's found all over the Americas, though in recent years, the cougar population in the eastern half of the United States has either gone extinct or been so severely reduced that they are not seen by people anymore, though there is a population in the Everglades of Florida. It can be identified by its large size and its disproportionately small head. And it also has a black tip to its long tail, but that's so difficult to see that you probably don't want to use that as its main identifier. It is a cougar. It can literally kill you if you're not careful. If you want a definite identifier, just take the large size, long tail, and the lack of spots. The jaguarundi is not the underwear of a jaguar. It's a species that is most closely related to cougars, actually, and is found only in the southern parts of Texas and Arizona, as well as in Central and Southern America. It is unspotted and can be either gray-brown or orange, though much smaller than a cougar. The ocelot is found throughout all of South and Central America and is also found in southern Texas and maybe a bit of Arizona too. It has very distinct spots forming splotches all along its body. It's also on the smaller side of cats that you'll find in North America at least, bigger than a house cat, of course. The jaguar is massive, and there's a chance that there are some in the southern parts of Texas or Arizona, though they're not seen often. They are also found, of course, in the rest of the Americas, mostly in tropical rainforest areas. Coyote is found all over North America. It has a much narrower muzzle than wolves do, and it also has rusty legs and ears. You can also tell it's a coyote because it runs with its tail held down. The gray wolf is found all over Canada and some parts of the Rocky Mountains, including a section down in Arizona. There's an Arctic form, which is all white, and that's found in the northernmost parts of North America, and there's also a melanistic form that's completely black. But the most common form is the one on the left side of the screen. It's the biggest dog species on the continent and in the world, with a large muzzle and proportionately small ears. Also, fun fact is that all domesticated dogs are technically still a part of this species. The eastern timber wolf is found only in the area just to the north of the St. Lawrence lowlands in Ontario and Quebec, around Algonquin Provincial Park. It has just recently been determined to be a separate species from the gray wolf, which is found to the north and the west. It looks a lot like the gray wolf, but it has reddish fur on its sides and face, and is somewhat smaller than the gray wolf. The red wolf is also another species of wolf that was recently determined to be separate from the gray wolf, though its range is completely separate from either the gray wolf or the eastern timber wolf. However, it looks fairly similar to the coyote. It is only found in a small area of eastern North Carolina, as well as a somewhat larger area of southeastern Texas and southwestern Louisiana. They can be distinguished from coyotes by their larger size and more reddish coloration, especially on the sides of their muzzle. The red wolf also has a larger nose pad than the coyote. The red fox is probably the most well-known fox species in the world. It's found all over North America except in most of the Southwest. It comes in several forms. The most common is the typical red form, which you can see in the top right, with orange-red coloration and a white belly and black on its tail and legs. The silver form is in the bottom left, and it's the melanistic form of the red fox. It's dark silver with black mixed in many areas. There's also a cross-phase form, which is in the top left. The one thing that brings all of these forms together, however, is that the tip of their tail is white, which is the case for no other fox species. The Arctic fox is found only in the farthest north of North America in the Arctic regions. In the winter, it's pure white, no matter where you are, but in the summer, it's variable, with mainland forms usually being dark-colored, as you can see in the bottom left, whereas on the islands of northern Canada and Greenland, they are dark-colored but still have a white belly, as you can see in the bottom right. The kit fox is found all over the southwestern United States. It has a gray body with reddish fur on the sides and a white belly with a black-tipped tail and very large ears for its size. The swift fox looks fairly similar to the kit fox, but their ranges do not overlap, and while it has the same coloration, its ears are smaller and its body is larger with a short tail. It is mostly found in the western part of the Great Plains, just before the Rocky Mountains start, and they used to have a much larger range. The common gray fox is found all over most of the United States, with the exception of parts of the Northwest. It has a similar coloration to the kit fox and swift fox, but it's larger, it has a more grizzled gray coloration, and it has black all over the top of its tail, not just at the tip. The island gray fox is only found in the Channel Islands of California. It's the only species of fox on the islands, and it looks very similar to the common gray fox, but somewhat smaller. The American black bear is one of the more variable species that we'll be going over. It's found all over Canada and in pockets of forest all over the United States and Mexico. The most common form of black bear is the black form, which you can see in the top center of the screen. There is a much less common form, however, that is brown or cinnamon in coloration, and it looks very similar to the brown bear. But the main difference is that in the black bear, the rump is higher than the shoulder, the ears are fairly prominent, and the muzzle is straight. The Kermode bear is shown in the bottom left picture and is only found along the coast of British Columbia, and it's fairly rare. It's white in coloration. The glacier bear, or blue bear, is found only in southeastern Alaska, as well as bits of adjacent British Columbia and Yukon, and you can see that on the far right. The brown bear, also known as the grizzly bear in North America, is found in western Canada, Alaska, and the northern Rockies of the United States. It's also found all across Eurasia. As you can see, it has a massive hump on its back. If it does not have that, it's not a brown bear, it's a black bear. You'll also maybe notice that its ears are less prominent and its muzzle is curved upward slightly. Please don't get super close to these animals. Trying to identify them, by the way, use binoculars. The polar bear is easy to identify. It's all white. It's found only in the Arctic regions within range of the Arctic Ocean, where it does its hunting during the winter. And that's all for today. Next, we'll be handling the rest of the carnivore family in the small carnivores and the seals and sea lions videos. And after that, I'll be bringing it back to some herbivores with rabbits and hares. If you liked the video and you thought it was informative, give it a like. And if you want more of this kind of content, you should subscribe because I've got more coming up. See you later.